She wanted curves. She wanted confidence. She wanted a new look. But what she got was pain and a body that never healed. By the time her mother found out, it was already too late. Her dreams, her aspirations, all gone. For what exactly? For vanity. Listen to this revealing story and learn a lesson. Lagos is a city of contrasts, where the rich and the poor coexist side by side. It is a city where dreams and aspirations could be realized, a center of excellence. But it is also a city of vanity, where beauty was often seen as a ticket to a better life. Among the gleaming high-rises and bustling streets, a growing trend had begun to dominate the minds of many young women: the desire for a fuller, curvier shape. This desire has led some to places where promises of perfect bodies came with a dark price. Social media isn't helping matters either. Influencers, celebrities, and reality TV stars flaunted their hourglass shapes, sending waves of envy through the minds of many young girls who wants to belong. Cynthia, a young woman in her mid-20s, was one of such girls. For her, these images were both captivating and tormenting. Born and raised in a modest home, Cynthia had always felt the weight of being too slim in a world that equated beauty with fullness and curves. Her friends, who had fuller figures, always received compliments and attention, while she was often overlooked. Despite having a good job as a marketing assistant, Cynthia's insecurities followed her everywhere. At social gatherings, she often felt invisible, as if her body betrayed her worth. Her friends didn't help matters. They were always referring to her slim stature, unaware of how self-conscious it made her feel. Her family, especially her mother, would tell her, "Beauty comes from within." But those words did little to soothe the ache in her heart. The constant comparisons to her friends, who seemed to effortlessly embody the ideal beauty standards, were enough to make Cynthia contemplate extreme measures. Guys drooled after her friends each time, barely noticing her. But what Cynthia failed to understand is that beauty has no specific standards. It is measured by the standards of the beholder. For one man, it could be a curvy shape. For another, it could be a slim shape. One evening, while scrolling through the Instagram, Cynthia stumbled upon an advertisement for a clinic promising the perfect Brazilian butt lift, aka BBL. The ad featured series of before and after photos of women who had undergone the procedure, with their bodies transformed into statuesque curves. The results were mesmerizing, feminine, voluptuous, and undeniably alluring. The clinic was called Dr. Beam's Aesthetic Clinic, and it boasted of affordable prices and a quick turnaround time. The website claimed to offer a safe professional service and featured glowing testimonials from women who were thrilled with their new bodies. The price being far lower than what she had seen elsewhere was the final push Cynthia needed. I think this is my chance to feel good about myself. I'm tired of always being in my friends' shadows, she thought, her finger hovering over the contact number. She hesitated for only a moment before calling. The voice on the other end of the line was smooth and reassuring, matching the clinic's polished online persona. This is Dr. Beam's clinic. How can I help? Hello, I came across your clinic on IG and I was wondering if you offer all the services you listed on your page, she asked with a bit of a shaky voice. Yes, dear. We are all for body enhancements. We can help you achieve the body you've always dreamed of. You'll be in and out, and in no time at all, you'll feel like a new woman. The voice at the other end replied smoothly. After the call, Cynthia made the decision to go for the beauty procedure. She made an appointment for the following week. The night before the surgery, Cynthia couldn't sleep. Her excitement was overshadowed by a knot of anxiety in her stomach. She had shared the news with her closest friends, and while some expressed excitement, others were skeptical. You sure about this, babe? Kim, her best friend, had asked. I heard those BBL things can be risky, especially if you get into the wrong hands. You might want to double check the clinic. There are so many quacks out there. Cynthia had brushed her off. No, Kim, this is going to be fine. Dr. Beam is highly recommended. I have done my research. Their testimonials are all over social media. But Kim wasn't convinced. Just be careful, okay? I just read about a lady who had serious complications after patronizing a quack she saw his adverts on Facebook. I just don't feel comfortable about all this, Kim said, looking worriedly at her friend. But Cynthia waved her concerns aside. I'll be fine, Kim. You worry too much. I just want to feel confident with my body and not hide behind my friends' shadows. That night, as she lay in bed, her thoughts wandered to what awaited her the next day. Her body was about to change, and with it, she hoped her life would too. She imagined how different her world will look. More confidence, more attention from guys, and even more recognition. She could finally wear the clothes she always dreamed of, the ones that never fit right before. She wouldn't have to feel ugly anymore. She smiled to herself. Soon, Cynthia, very soon, your world will change. The morning came quickly. She got ready and headed for her appointment. Soon, she was in the clinic's sterile, dimly lit waiting room, filling out forms. The air smelled faintly of antiseptic and the few women sitting around her seemed tense. When she completed the forms, she handed them back to the lady behind the reception desk and sat down with the other ladies, who exchanged glances but said nothing, their faces betraying their anxiety. Before long, she was called in by a nurse to change into a patient gown. As she was led into the operating room, she couldn't help but notice how basic the place seemed. The walls were bare, the equipment appeared old, and there was no sign of the modern state-of-art facilities promised online. But Dr. Beam was charming. He smiled at her and reassured her that everything would be fine. He was experienced, he said, having performed countless procedures. "You are in good hands, Miss Cynthia," he said with a confident grin, motioning for her to lie down. Cynthia, though slightly uneasy, tried to relax as the anesthesia took effect. The procedure itself was far from smooth. The pain of the liposuction was sharp and unbearable at times. But Dr. Beam and his staff continued to reassure her, telling her it was all normal. He had promised her a smooth and flawless recovery, but she still felt uneasy about this whole process. The operating room was barely lit, and the instruments looked outdated. The nurses weren't involved. They were standing in the corners as Dr. Beam walked. Cynthia felt her stomach churn in fear, but the anesthesia kept her from fully comprehending what was happening. Dr. Beam injected fat into her buttocks, fat that was not purified, but rather taken directly from her own body without proper processing. He used a foreign substance to enhance the appearance of the result, promising her that everything would be perfect. The room was filled with a sense of urgency as he walked quickly to complete the procedure. Cynthia's last coherent thought before the anesthesia fully took over was the nagging question, what if something goes wrong? Days after the surgery, Cynthia felt strangely light, but it wasn't the kind of lightness she had hoped for. Her body ached terribly, and a persistent fever set in. Her friends, those that were initially thrilled for her decision, began to grow concerned as they noticed her condition worsening. "I thought you said it was supposed to be easy," Kim cried when she saw the swelling on Cynthia's face and body. "You need to see a real doctor. This doesn't look normal." Cynthia dismissed her warnings. "It's just part of the healing process, Kim. Dr. Beam said it should be expected. I would be fine," she reassured her worried friend. But things only grew worse. The swelling didn't subside. In fact, it intensified. The once promising curves she had hoped for now seemed like a nightmare, and her fever was unbearable. Her skin turned a sickly shade, and her buttocks became outrageously saggy. She could barely move. Finally, after days of agony, Cynthia collapsed. Her mother, frantic, rushed her to the emergency ward of a reputable hospital in the city. She had never been in support of this, but Cynthia had gone ahead, neglecting her warnings. The doctors there immediately recognized the signs of a dangerous infection, the result of improperly handled fat injections. They tried to resuscitate her, but the infection was already spreading through her body, poisoning her system. The hospital staff did all they could, but it was too late. Cynthia died within hours of being admitted, leaving her family devastated. Her mother, in a state of shock, was inconsolable. Her friends were equally heartbroken, especially Kim, who blamed herself for not doing more to discourage her friend. "I should have done more. I had a strong feeling against this whole thing from the very beginning," she cried. The story of Cynthia's death and cause spread quickly through the community. Parents, especially mothers, warned their young daughters not to end up like Cynthia. It didn't take long for the authorities to uncover Dr. Beam's criminal activities. Investigations revealed that he had been performing unauthorized surgeries for years, preying on vulnerable women who believed his lies. Many of his victims had experienced severe complications, but they were too embarrassed or afraid to speak out. Dr. Beam was arrested, but the damage was done. Cynthia is gone, and so had other young women who fell prey. Families had lost loved ones, and the community was left in mourning. Cynthia's friend, Kim, decided to take a stand. She couldn't save Cynthia, but she has the opportunity to save thousands of other vulnerable and unsuspecting young girls out there who could likely fall into the hands of criminals like Dr. Beam. She publicly spoke out about the dangers of unregulated cosmetic surgeries, urging women to seek proper medical care and not fall prey to fraudulent promises. She partnered with advocacy groups to raise awareness about the risk of quack doctors and the importance of safe, certified medical procedures. She shared Cynthia's story, speaking in schools, social media, and relevant places. She told young girls, "No beauty is worth your life. Confidence doesn't come from shape, it comes from within. And the way you see yourself is the way others will see you. Never allow anybody or what you see on social media pressure you into doing what you will regret." So, if I may ask, why are so many of our young girls willing to risk everything to enhance their looks these days? What's your take on BBL procedures? Do you think one should enhance their looks if it will make them more confident? Let's gather and share our views in the comments. And if this story moved you, like, share, subscribe. That's the only way we can grow. And please, turn on the notification bell so you never miss another real powerful story like this one. Thank you for watching.